And we are live. Hi, good evening, everybody. Welcome to She Built It Boss Lady Chronicles. I am Sharita Gaskin-Stillette. I am your host. And this is the show where we feature the amazing stories of women who are owning their power to transform their lives. And I am super excited to introduce you to tonight's guest. But we're going to allow a couple minutes for others to come on. And while we do that, I just want to remind you, if you are watching us live, please say hi in the comments. Put your questions in the comments. Share this episode with the people in your life that could benefit from the topic tonight. If you're watching the replay, hashtag replay, I still invite you to put your questions in the comments because I will definitely get them over to our guest. And I invite you too to share this episode. If you're watching on YouTube, please hit that subscribe button, subscribe to the YouTube channel because we are here every week and we're giving you great content to help inspire you to change your life. One other reminder is registration is still open for a weekend for me, the premier wellness experience for professional women. We're headed back to Grand Cayman, beautiful, beautiful Grand Cayman, October 2nd through the 5th. There's still a few spaces remaining. I would love to have you there. Registration is closing soon. August 15th is the deadline, so get your space today. And check out my page. There's some discount coupons around, so look for a discount. All right, so I'm going to jump into tonight's episode. So I have joining me Christa Smith. Christa is the founder of Ignite Your Life. She is a mindset clarity coach and motivational speaker devoted to helping women reconnect with themselves, rebuild their confidence, and move forward with clarity. Her coaching isn't just about mindset, it's about reclaiming joy, rewriting old narratives, and finding the courage to live life on your own terms. Krista's journey into this work began in a deeply personal place. After the passing of her father in 2017 from heart complications, she found herself in a quiet unraveling, grief piercing through emotional walls she didn't realize she'd built. Though she had long considered herself practical and resilient, the experience sent her into a period of introspection and depression. This experience was a turning point for me, she says. I realized I needed to change the way I approached life, starting with how I handled grief. It wasn't easy, but through practices centered on intention and joy, I found a way to thrive. Welcome, Christa.
Thank you. Thank you, Sharita. I'm happy to be here tonight.
I'm happy to have you. So, you and I had an opportunity to meet a couple weeks ago. And, I know some of your story, but I'd always like to start with the backstory because, like I said, this show is about showing other women what's possible. It really is about the land of possibility. And so I want you to give us a little bit of your background because, now you're working as a coach and you're helping women to find their joy and their passions and their purpose and all of those things. But where does your story begin?
Sure. I have always had a desire to help people. And in fact, I went to James Madison University and graduated with a social work degree and was really looking to have, a career in hands-on help. And I was fortunate enough to find my way into healthcare and was started off helping people that were uninsured and those that needed to find Medicaid and disability in order to pay for their hospital bills and the disability to give them a source of income. And so that was, pretty fulfilling as far as just, meeting somebody where they were, helping them navigate through paperwork and the bureaucracy of the application process and really being that helping hand. And so that was always near and dear to my heart to be able to help people. And my healthcare career has sustained me for over 25 years and was able to, move up in the ranks to an executive and continue with that mindset of helping others. And at some point during my career, I did switch over to the hospital side of things versus working for a company that was partnered with the hospital. And so then I turned my focus on my team members and really helping them build the lives that they were looking to build and be able to reach their goals as far as what type of leader they wanted to be, if they even wanted to be a leader, but to be able to take the skills that I noticed that were helpful in order to build a life that they were really felt fulfilled in.
Awesome. So you have been committed to a life of service, it sounds like, and also helping people to become better, to strive for better. So it sounds like you started your coaching journey before you actually started your coaching journey. So tell me, Krista, what kind of changed the tide of things? So you're working in the healthcare space and you're working with your team and helping them to become the leaders that they want to be. But what has gotten you to the place where we are now, to this space?
Yes. So during COVID, there was all kinds of obviously death and destruction that was going on that was just horrific. And also, it was another racial resurgence of injustice that was happening in our country. So everywhere you turned, there was just chaos and devastation, just true devastation. And I had started after my father's passing, which was in 2017. So I had a little bit of a head start. As you mentioned, I went into a depression for about a year. And so after that year, I figured I needed to do something differently in order to feel better. And so I started focusing on mindfulness and what could I do in order to be more intentional in my day. And so during the COVID timeframe, when everything was all of the stimulation externally was not good, and so it caused me to go within even more so and focus on my mindset and what did bring me some comfort and what did bring me some peace in the midst of that chaos. And so I started working on a formula that worked for me. And when we were able to go see other people again, when the quarantines were lifted, I had this idea to share some of the ideas with my loved ones and friends around the country of what I put together to kind of refocus myself, because I do believe that when you can find peace within yourself, it emanates from you, and that's really the key, if you will, on changing the world.
Yeah.
And it starts within you.
Yeah, absolutely. So I want to you touched on a couple of concepts that I want to explore a little deeper with you. So first,
Sure.
we throw around the word mindfulness a lot. You hear it all over the place. But what does mindfulness mean to you?
Yes, I think there was a book. Now I'm forgetting the name of it. I believe the author is Michael Singer, and he talks about the concept of the voice inside your head is not you. You're the one receiving the voice, and that just completely resonated with me. As far as if I'm the one that's receiving the voice, then let me kind of shift and be more intentional about what I'm hearing. And so as you kind of stop and focus on what it is either you're doing, you're listening to, you're telling yourself, because oftentimes we're our own harshest critic. And so if we're feeding ourselves constantly, because that's the voice we hear the most, of that type of negative talk, then and oftentimes we don't even realize we're doing it. So the mindfulness part is just kind of bringing consciousness to our thoughts as well as to our actions.
Okay, so kind of the think about what you're thinking about, right?
Yeah, kind of pulling
Okay.
yourself out of yourself so that
Now,
you're
how
looking
did
at it more objectively.
Right, right. So you say you had fallen into this depression, but you realized there came a point where something had to change. And I think that that's a really key issue because sometimes we can recognize that there's a problem, that there's something going on, and we don't like where we are. But getting to the place where you find another way, that's like the next level. How did you get there? Like what skills, what tools did you have in your arsenal that helped to prepare you for that moment?
I think what helped me prepare really was something that made me laugh. So I was reading an article, and it actually made me laugh. And laughter had not been a part of my, year that I had been in
Mhm.
some deep grief. And so it caught my attention. And so what that did was, um, sorry, my dog is getting excited.
Okay.
Um, so what that did was open me up to exploring what are some other ways of being able to laugh or to bring that in. And I think just even having a mindset that I don't have to do it alone, which was really a big shift for me because I, as a single mother, was doing it pretty much all on my own. And so seeing that article kind of gave me like a registered thought that I could get outside help to help me make me laugh. And my mother had introduced me to laughter yoga. And
Mm,
so I had never heard of this concept of laughter yoga.
I have never heard of this concept. Tell me about it.
Yeah, it was a wonderful opportunity. So it was pre-COVID, and so there was a gentleman that was leading a group of folks in the Richmond, Virginia area, and he had in-person sessions where you would come in, and there would be exercises where not only were you doing different laughters themselves as far as in different registers of your body, like a he, like Lamaze
Mhm.
breathing, right? I
Okay.
mean,
Uh-huh.
and down to like your Santa Claus laughter of ho 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 ho, and it brings up different parts of like it initiates different stimulation inside your body that um, helps your not only your lungs but just moving the energy through yourself. But the more important thing I think to laughter yoga is that there were all of these exercises where you had to physically engage with somebody else. And so, a lot of times there are introverts out there in this world. And so that was kind of, like you're in this class, so you're going to participate. But the connection was really magical. Like there were, different things where you had to like clap hands kind of thing like that. It wasn't any long standing touch. But what it did was open up this connection that we often, crave. And so it was just a really kind of eye-opening as far as doing something new, and that kind of kicked off what else is out there that could be of service to me.
Yeah, and what I love about this is that you paid attention to the little things. So I don't know how many people would have noticed, oh, I laughed and I felt better. How and you asked yourself the question because that's really key too that we ask really good questions of ourselves. And you asked yourself the question, how do I get more of this in my life? And I think it sounds like with this laughter yoga that it helps to make you more present. It almost sounds like it brought you out of your head because when we get stuck in depression and negative thoughts, it's all happening in our heads, right? All these
Mhm.
thoughts are swirling around and swirling around. But if you're doing all of these different breathing techniques and slapping high fives with other people and, all of this stuff, it's bringing you out of your head and into life, really.
Yes, yeah. I actually just read a book recently, which name I'm going to forget too. But it was a love story, but it started with a young woman who lost her best friend young. So it was, felt very tragic. And so one of the main themes in the book was a good, a bad, and moving, like I was
Mhm.
moving your physical self. And so the scene in the book was getting something, an oatmeal for nourishment, because a lot of times when people are stuck in grief, they're not eating or taking care of themselves. So it was nourishment and a Nutella croissant, but then it was
Mhm.
also changing the scenery. And so I think, like you said, when we have that negative self talk, we're going inward and kind of folding in on ourselves. So if there's any even centimeter that we can do, even change the chair that we're sitting in at home, that we normally sit in every morning, change it to a different chair, and name the new chair my happy chair. And
Yeah.
just to kind of allow some different kind of energy to flow in, to and that small amount of movement can open up to other pathways that can also help bring in other positive energy.
Yeah. So you also mentioned that you uncovered a formula that you used that helped you to pull out of that grief. Do you mind sharing that formula with us?
Sure. I really kind of focused on 5 steps. And so the first step was to be still. And in this world where everything is at our fingertips on our phone, I think it's extremely challenging to be still. And so I think what that leaves is space to be open to hearing other things, to just again, you're stopping the momentum of whatever it is you're normally doing and changing the pathways that would normally um, flood you, like your to-do list or things like that. And so the first step would be to be still, and that can be through meditation. It doesn't have to be. A lot of times our those overthinkers, meditation seems, impossible or what have you. But I even like to equate being still to just giving yourself a moment, even if it's while you're fixing your morning coffee or tea or in the shower, even, or brushing your teeth, of just, if the thoughts are coming in, just let them know you'll be back in a minute. And so,
Yeah.
but just really kind of be intentional about trying to be still, and starting with 1 minute literally is enough. And then the second step is to set the intention. This comes back to being mindful. What is it that you actually want to happen today? Not what do you think will happen today. Not bringing in all of your judgments and history of what your life has been like today. But what do you, if you had a magic wand, how would you
Mhm.
wave it? And just take again another minute or so, to think about what it is that you want to have happen, whether it's to get through all your emails or to have no interruptions during a strategic call, or I don't know, just whatever
Yeah.
it is that you're looking to have happen, but to set the intention for that. And then the third step is movement. So I think it's very important to move ourselves, and I don't necessarily mean putting on our workout clothes and going to the gym, because oftentimes that can be feel laborious. And
Yeah.
I'm talking about more movement of either moving your thoughts, doing deep breathing. Everybody can breathe. If we just even right now take a moment to take in a deep breath for a count of 4 and out for a count of 4. I mean, I don't know about you, but my whole shoulders
Yeah.
just kind of
Yeah.
relax.
It's grounding. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
grounding.
So you do three of those. I mean, we're not talking, even more than 30 seconds or so, but some type of movement that adds something different to your day. It could be a walk outside, it could be physical in nature, but it could be as simple as taking a few moments to do some deep breathing. So that's step 3. And then 4 is practice and reflect. So I like to do this step at the end of the day, as I've already um, gotten my nighttime routine down, and I'm under my covers. I like to just take a moment to reflect on, okay, the intentions I set today, how did did they come to fruition? Did other things happen that I wasn't expecting? And just truly kind of reflect on, even if it was, not as an ideal day as you were hoping for, think about how that benefited you, because we often think that life is happening to us, but it's really happening for us. And so what opportunity, even in that negative situation that could have arisen, how did it end up benefiting you? And kind of challenging ourselves
Mhm.
with coming up with those
Yeah.
answers. And the fifth step is my favorite, and that's to celebrate you. Is to think of, even if you feel like you might have had not a great day, if you even took 2 out of the 5 steps that I'm talking about, that's, to give yourself momentum and to celebrate those wins, and to just really kind of honor what it is that you're doing and to pat yourself on the back, because we really can be our harshest critic. And how can we turn ourselves into our biggest cheerleader?
Oh, I love that concept of becoming your biggest cheerleader because there are going to be enough naysayers in the world, right? Why should we join them?
Yes, exactly.
I like this, this 5-step process. And really, to me, what it says is you are owning your power, right? Because it's about you kind of taking control of your environment. So first, you've made the decision to be still, right? And say,
Hmm.
I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to sit here. I'm not going to respond to these thoughts. I'm not answering the phone. I'm not answering the text. I'm going to be
Right.
still, even if it's just for 1 minute, but it's determining what your environment's going to be and then setting your intention. I really like that because it shows you, it demonstrates for you that you have agency, that you can determine what you want your life to be. And so it might not go exactly the way you plan, but you're not just willy-nilly going through life. I call it life by default. You're not
Yes.
just going through life by default. You're actually setting some intention and moving in a particular direction. And then what was three? I don't remember three. Let me
Movement.
see.
Movement.
Movement, that's right. Yeah. So, again, moving your body. And then the reflecting. So you used to mention that was part of your nighttime routine. And a lot of people talk about morning routines, but we don't hear as much about night routines. And honestly, what I teach is that your evening routine actually helps to support your morning routine. If you don't have a good night, you're not going to have a good morning. So I
Right.
love that too, practicing reflection and everything and thinking about what happened in your day and processing it, putting everything in its place. I
Hmm.
think that also has a calming effect so that you're not turning it over in your head during the night. You've already
Hmm.
journaled about it or whatever. And then the celebrating, of course, like I said, I think that's huge because we don't celebrate enough. So I love this process. So doing these 5 steps help to pull you out of deep grief. So now,
Yes.
how did you then take this process and share it with others?
So I ended up thinking, when the quarantine was lifted, I wanted to share this internal joy that I was cultivating with my loved ones, and created these baskets and these concepts on like a laminated card, and went around to my loved ones. And one of my loved ones was Nikki Boyd with At Home with Nikki on. She has her YouTube channel, and when I went to her house, she of course read it all, ingested it, and said that I should write a book. And so when Nikki says you should write a book, well, then you
Yeah.
write a book.
So
So
shout out to Nikki. Nikki actually connected us, and Nikki's been on the show at least once. I'm trying to get her to come back on. Yeah, but shout out to Nikki for introducing us and for encouraging you to put that in a book.
yeah. So I never considered myself a writer. So you talk about finding strength within. I come from a family of writers, and so you could say it's in my genes, but it did not have. I can't even talk about it when it's how much I don't think it comes naturally to me.
Yeah.
Um, but I thought, to get the basic concepts down, and one of the things that I appreciate in communication is kind of that succinct bullet point um, communication, so that you get the nuts and bolts of what it is that you're looking for. And so that's kind of the approach I took with the book. So it is, it's not very long. You can read it in snippets, or you can even read it all the way through. But it gives you practical space to journal, to be a little playful and draw, and then you can easily reference the steps so that you can stay on track with your own day.
So, Krista, show us the book again, and then we'll
Sure.
make sure in the comments that we have links to the way that we can purchase these from you. So, starter kit to joy. What I really absolutely love about this and about women in general. So, what I've taken to saying, you guys, at the beginning of the show, I always say, this is the show where we feature the stories of women who are owning their power to transform their lives. But here's the thing about women who have transformed their lives. They start trying to transform the lives of other people. So, I see it over and over again. And so you tell me that you went through this, joy awakening of your own. And instead of just walking around with your new joyful self, you put things in a card, in a basket, and went around to deliver joy to your friends, unsolicited joy to
Mhm.
your friends, which then led to the book, which has now led to coaching and other
Yeah.
things. When you put yourself out there, you never know what's coming, huh?
You don't. And it's like, again, you talked about what skill set did I have in order to come out of grief, and really the skill set was to be open and
Mm,
and see how you can invite different positive things in. But just it starts to me with being open of what could be next. What
yeah,
could be better than this, and just even asking ourselves. And I love that question of what could be better than this, because it could mean it. And when you're maybe out on the Caribbean Sea on a yacht, what could be better than this feeling, because it
yeah,
feels like the top of wonderfulness. Or
yes,
it could be when you're in the middle of your grief, what could be better than this. And by doing that, you can allow answers to come in either in your silent moments, or they can show up and surprise you in ways and messages that you're able to receive.
yeah, absolutely. So tell us about your coaching. What do you offer?
Sure. I offer one-on-one coaching. I actually am getting ready to start up another virtual Journey to Joy. It's kind of diving into self-discovery. That's coming up in September. There's two different dates. There's a Thursday series. It's a three-part series. You don't have to attend all three. You can pick and choose. I do recommend you do all
Yeah,
three for the most benefit. But there's a Thursday night series at 7, and then a Sunday series at 10:30 to kind of offer different, opportunities for different schedules. So that's coming up in September. Anybody who's watching, if they go to my website at igniteyourlifeco.com, you can get the courses there. It's also on Eventbrite. And you're welcome to the coupon code JOY22, and that'll give you 22% off.
excellent. And all of that information will also be in the comment section. So where do you see this going? Because it's like, things just kind of happened. It almost sounds like serendipitous, the way that things have unfolded for you. Where are you planning to take this joy journey?
Uh, anywhere that anybody's willing to listen. Right now, I have a recurring spot on a local morning show, and I love talking to the community and giving tips. It's called Wisdom Wednesday. That I really have just truly enjoyed. And other speaking engagements or things like that, I also see or continue. I've had a few, but would like to continue doing the speaking engagements. But the workshops I really love. I also have self-led courses that are similar to the virtual workshops, but I like the interaction with people and women and sharing their stories. So part of the workshop is a voluntary sharing of the exercises that we end up going through. And one of the things that never fails is that something that somebody has the courage to share is touching somebody else in the workshop that they didn't even know they needed to hear. And it just is, it's just so powerful when we can come together and work for each other.
No, you're absolutely right. I think I shared with you when we met before that that is one of the reasons that I do the retreat, because some of the times we have these feelings and they're very isolating because you think you're the only person who's broken, the only person who can't get their stuff together. And then when you get in a space and you hear other people talk, you don't feel so strange. You realize that you're in good company because
Yeah.
none of us have it all together. None of us have figured this thing out. We're all
Yeah.
just doing the best that we can. Now, there was one concept that I kind of clung to in your bio, and that was the concept of rewriting your story. And I love that. Or, so would you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. So really the Journey to Joy virtual workshop, as well as the self-led courses kind of helps with that. And what I like to do is kind of peel back the onion as to who are we really? oftentimes we are, products of our environment. So whether that's the type of home that we grew up in, or the type of interactions we had within our schooling in those early years, and information is fed to us all of the time. So um, how do we even know what we're thinking, right? Even if we speak with conviction, how do we know that's sourced within ourselves? And so the courses really kind of help peel back the onion, and sometimes it can be unsettling because,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you're finding out that what you were taught to believe all of this, your life, maybe there's a different way to think about it, and it really is a way to then ending up connecting to yourself, which is putting you in your own power, and just growing that way and creating your own peace within once you actually get to know yourself.
Yeah, there's that openness again, right? Being open to new concepts and new identities.
Yes, yeah. Like I said, it can just be um, so interesting to kind of challenge what you've always believed.
Yeah.
And you don't have, I mean, I'm not saying you'll change every belief that you've had, but it's more of an exploratory time of where did that originate? Does it still feel true today? I think so often we try to, logic size our way through things, but what I focus on is kind of getting back to that feeling. And does it feel true today? Like, how does it show up in your body when you talk about X belief or that kind of thing?
Yeah. And one of the questions that I like to ask myself around that is who says? Because we have like it's like we have these concrete thoughts
Yeah,
that, this is the way it is. And so I like to challenge myself when I have one of those thoughts is this is the way it is, this is the way it has to be. I go, who says? Like where did that even come from? Did it come from me? Did it come from someplace else? Is it true? And is it true just for this time or is it always true? And most of the time it's not true. It's not,
right.
it's just a thought that I've had and have kind of latched onto and carried into all of my different life experiences. But I find that that's very helpful in getting you out of your way and getting you open to newer concepts.
I love that. Who says? Yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah. So we're getting a little bit short on time. How can we find you to work with you if we're interested in doing that? And I just want to, give a little bit of a plug. So Krista and I met on Zoom, like I said, a couple weeks ago, and we were talking over different things. And she said to me, "Do you mind if I coach you a little bit?" And I just want to say that she is an excellent, excellent coach. She helped me in what 2 or 3 minutes. So,
Yeah.
anyway, she's excellent. Seek her out for help. But tell us, Krista, how can we find you to work with you?
Yes, thank you. You can find me either on my website at igniteyourlifeco.com or on Instagram at igniteyourlife.co. And I'm also on Facebook under Christa Smith, and those are pretty much, and Eventbrite, because I'm on Eventbrite
Yeah, and
with the
again,
virtual.
all of her contact information will be in the comment section here, and you can always reach out to me if you're looking for her. So, just the final question I like to ask is if there is someone who finds themselves kind of drowning in grief or negativity, what is the single best thing that they can do to begin to emerge from that darkness?
I think just ask themselves what can be better than this. And it really does open the pathways to not having that tunnel vision of the doom and gloom and the horrible sorrow. And what can be better than this? And just really kind of focus on that and being open to help. We don't have to do this alone. And, there are so many ways in the world today that we can reach out in whatever ways that feel comfortable to us, and even some of those that don't. I mean, going to laughter yoga was not anything I was comfortable.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's almost like experimenting with what could be, and just treating it like an experiment. And whether that's calling calling somebody and saying I need help, or going to an event even by yourself, that to experiment. I think when you look at it as an experiment, all kinds of experiments have success and all kinds of experiments have failures. And it's just about assessing, oh, was this experiment great for me, or did it feel like not so good? And if it doesn't feel good, then get in your car or hang up the phone, or, what have you, that feels better in that moment.
Yeah, it's all part of the self-discovery process, right? Part
Yes.
of the learning process. Excellent. Well, Krista, I have enjoyed our time together tonight. Thank you for so much for it, igniting the joy in others, for following that path and making the world a happier place. So, like I said, all of Krista's information will be in the comments. I encourage you to seek her out for coaching, do her program, get the book, because everybody needs a little more joy, right? Who couldn't use more joy? There we go.
Exactly.
So that's it. That's it for tonight, guys. We will see you again next week. Take care. Don't forget, share this episode, especially if you know somebody who is in a dark place, who's going through grief, or other things that are going on. Because there's all different kinds of grief. It's not just the death of a loved one. It can be the loss of a job, or the loss of a relationship, or loss of health, or all kinds of things, all kinds of different ways that grief shows up. But if you know someone who is dealing with this, please share this episode. They can begin to change things in those 5 simple steps that Krista shared with us. So that's it for tonight. Oh, one more thing. Don't forget, A Weekend for Me registration is closing August 15th. www.aweekendforme.com. Check my page for coupons. Would love to have you there. If you have questions about it, feel free to shoot me a message. I'm happy to get on a Zoom and talk with you to see if it's the right fit for you, because we want it to be, if you're going to make that kind of investment, we want it to be a good fit. But that's it. So we will see you guys next week. Take care. Thanks
Thanks,
again,
Sharita.
Krista.
Thank you.